My name is Chief Bonzano. I'm the fire chief here in Arlington County, and it is my pleasure to be here with two colleagues of mine, two good friends, now retired, Chief Bob Cornwell and Chief Dale Smith. And I've asked them here today to give us some conversation as to their experiences with Arlington County and the fire service back when they came on, and lessons they've learned, things they would like to pass on to our best and brightest here today. Chief Cornwell, if I may, I'll start with you.
Okay.
So how did you end up in the Arlington County Fire Department, and give me some background to your fire service memories in general.
Well, actually, I was a former county employee, and I was working at the water department for a couple years, then got drafted, went to Vietnam, came back, and went back into the water department, and then started to look for different careers. Of course, you're always wanting to try to improve yourself, get better,
Right.
make a little bit more money.
Right.
So at that time, the fire department was hiring. I had no experience in the fire department, but I did a lateral transfer from the water department to the fire department. That's how I started my career.
Now, you actually grew up in the county, correct, Bob?
Actually, born and raised in Arlington.
Right.
And like I say, I've worked for Arlington, I guess, for a total of 40 years.
Wow.
And it was great.
Changed a little?
Changed a lot.
Yes.
I hear you. Dale, how about yourself?
Like Bobby, I'm from the county. I
Right.
went to preschool at 16th and Glebe.
Right.
I'll never forget sleeping on those little carts. And then went to elementary school through Woodline, then Glebe School when it was brand new before it was built. Watched it being built. My dad, as you know, was a volunteer at Halls Hill Fire Station number 8,
Right.
and being a kid, I knew that, but I never really knew exactly what that meant.
Right.
So by virtue of him being a volunteer, the older guys there, take the kids under their
Right.
wing. So when I was graduating from high school, Bill Warrington
Right.
asked me, I happened to run into him. He go, "What are you doing?" And so I was en route to college, and Bill go, if you maybe apply for the fire department as well. And I did that, and that was how it started.
Right. Bill Warrington is a great man right there.
Yeah.
I love him, absolutely. So I'll start with, just some of the great conversations we've had through the years, and I'm going to ask you guys to share some of those. So I'll start by saying,
Sure.
yeah, we'll keep it PG rated. So what are your favorite memories, and what do you miss most about the job?
Well, I've got a lot of favorite memories, and
We won't cap you, just go for it.
it was just a great job.
Yeah.
And I mean, what you miss, I think, are the people, the camaraderie that you have, the job that you do, really. I mean, it's, you're out there trying to help the public all the time. And it's always something new and different, challenging, sometimes, dangerous. But it is, for me anyway, and has been the greatest job that there is. I have 3 sons, and all 3 sons are going to do the best they can to try and follow and get careers in the fire service. So memories, I mean, it's just one after another. They go from practical jokes to, serious times, but all in all, it was a great career.
I agree. Dale, like Chief Cornwell, I know your son's in the fire service as well, am I correct?
Yeah, it is. I was kind of listening to you and how our sons are following in our footsteps. Some of us. It was and is a very good job. It's a very different job from a regular 9 to 5,
Right.
folks. And it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to explain to people how it differs. You just don't. You're basically living with people, okay, and for a certain amount of days of a month, and it brings about a deeper connection than just a 9 to 5, and it brings back some headaches too. We've had a lot of our chiefing time was because people didn't know how to get along, but you actually learn how to get along, which makes it a great aspect of the job. Like Bobby, there were so many funny things that happened and so many serious things. You know, I just saw a picture of us, you and I. We were at the Pentagon,
Right.
And everybody, you know, has that as their call of the lifetime. But there were many calls that were bigger than that for us, but not for the public.
Right. I would agree with you. I have so many, and I like what both of you say. I agree with you in regards to living together. I've often said that that's the best part of the job because it allows that esprit de corps, that family, because it is a family unit. And families, as good as we are, we have our difficult times, we get through them. But what I've always loved the most about it, I think that's what distinguishes us, is because you have the opportunity to break bread with somebody and you leave a silly call to a very serious call. And without that family, without that levity, it could be difficult. So I'll move on and I'll ask you a little, in the interest of being serious for a moment, what do you know now that you wish you knew when you came on the job? And then not only pass it on to our officers, also to our young, folks that are coming on the department today, what would you pass on to them about what lessons learned about being not only an entry-level firefighter, but also about as you grow and become an officer in the institution? Dale, I'll start with you.
It's difficult to put it down in just one little caption. One of the biggest things, and we do a lot of training. I mean, we train all the time. That's what we do. That's what makes us good. People training, how to, especially the younger folks, I call, how to interact, how to get along, how to play in the sandbox.
Right.
I think that's a big aspect of it. And living in a situation like we do in the fire station, you're not going to have it all your way. The other person can't have it all their way. So it's a meeting of the minds in the middle ground.
Right.
And just enjoy yourself.
Right.
And one of the things, as far as for officers, looking back, I didn't break my career up in stages. Okay, it just, let me see how to put this. We kind of just react somewhat. You get promoted, you take this class, so on. But I never looked at it as a total destination or where I would like to have been. And I wish I would have done that.
I got you. That's good. Chief?
Adding on to what Dale said, the technical aspect of the job is very, very important also. It's a job that it's hard to learn how to do something from a book. It's more hands-on, that learning process where you see something that happens and you need to file that because it'll come back. At 2:00 in the morning, if you're out there as the officer in charge and you're responsible for, 4 people and being safe with them and getting the job done, it's hard to grasp that from a book. So, my advice is that you need to start to learn and observe and take in every bit of information you can from the day that you start. We used to addresses as an example, trying to figure out how to go somewhere and get there the quickest way. We used to call it Pete and repeat because you run a lot of calls to the same building or the same structure. So once you get that path, that travel route down, then it's there forever. But, when I came on, I tried to do that, took the job very seriously. I was promoted to a roving lieutenant with 5 years of experience. And the roving lieutenant at that time, you generally change shifts. So you really didn't know a lot of people or a lot of capabilities once you moved to another shift. And you took the place of an officer that was off on leave or something like that. So you really, had to learn the people and be able to make those decisions. So I think for new people especially, take it seriously, learn everything you can about the technical aspects of the job. Things have changed. When we first came on, you took a written test for promotion, and then it was up to a group of people to decide whether you had the experience and stuff to get promoted. Now they've gone into assessment centers, and it's a different deal because you have to learn how to deal with people as well as the technical aspect of it. But to actually get out there and do it yourself, it's a difficult task. It's an important one, and one that's very satisfying if you do it correctly. True. But it's not an easy job to take on and complete, really.
Give me examples of how you guys built your teams. And Bobby, you talked about when you were roving and how that was difficult because it was a new team all the time. And I'd like to know your experiences, both your experiences. What was maybe one of the tools you used to help develop your team? And I'll start with you, Bobby.
Well, I think, if it's just like anything else, you can learn people's capabilities. I mean, for a rover, it's really difficult in a lot of instances because you've got 10 stations. If you have a single shift, then you can learn strengths and weaknesses of the folks that work with you and improve upon those. But I know as a rover, I used to go in and look for my assignment, and the officer that was there, if it was a combination house, would have changed the people. He would have taken, quote unquote, what he thought was the better people and kind of leave you with somebody that was struggling,
Yes.
So it really made it overly difficult. But I think that, it's just, it's something that you have to work at and stay with, really.
Chief Smith?
To answer that, Jimmy, to apply, I was thinking, because thinking back on Bobby, you're making me roll my Rolodex there. We all played sports.
Right.
And being on teams, I've played sports all my entire life. So producing a team, working within a team was pretty easy. One of the things that I never considered is that everybody didn't play sports. Everybody didn't do that. So that was one of the difficult pieces. You're thinking from one paradigm, and some others may not even have that paradigm. But if you treat people fairly, okay, and don't persecute when they don't know anything in the teaching format, you're mostly going to do pretty well. Right. But you got to be fair, and you've got to, as Bobby said, he was working with someone who had some shortcomings. Well, everybody has shortcomings. Right. So you're working as a team. Right. You pick up my shortcomings, I pick up yours, and we make for a stronger team.
I would agree with that. All right, so. And by no means am I concluding here, but have at this. So what's your advice for current officers and those who aspire to be officers? What would be your advice to them? Dale?
To some of what we've already touched on, and I think actually the department, okay, and maybe the fire service, but I'm going to speak for just Arlington specific, we need to do a better job on developing our officers, not just to make them officers, because we do, I think, a great job on the technical piece. I really do. I think as you think about it, we just train all the time technically. And the issue with that is that the people who are doing the technical thing are people. So we need some people, more people training to apply the people training along with the technical training to become a really good officer. More formal training.
Gotcha.
I think that's a big piece. But not just, a lot of times we focus on one piece, as a technical training, formal training, but we need to, it's a combination. You touch every
a holistic
piece.
approach.
Yes.
I got you. I would agree. Bobby?
Well, I think that, it's kind of, there are a lot of different factors involved. If you take current officers as an example, first and foremost, I would say they have to realize that everybody has a boss, okay? And that, they're going to hear things and have things brought down their way that they may not totally agree with, but you have to work through that process. You have to be a contributor to the process instead of one that might want to go against it. I also think as an officer, you need to really earn the respect of the people that work with you. Just like Dale said, treat people fairly, honestly, a lot of different traits that you can have and develop that make you a lot better officer and make you accepted by the folks that work with you, which always makes it easier to manage that group. If they have faith in you, if they have, an understanding that, you're going to treat them fairly, you're not going to put them in a difficult situation that they shouldn't be in, all those kind of things for current officers. I mean, it's, for aspiring officers, you have to learn how to deal with people, how to manage people, how to manage a technical aspect of it, and that's on a day-to-day thing. I mean, you have to do it constantly. It's a job where you need to be focused and develop all the time because there's so much involved nowadays, especially. Yeah. Just like somebody said, you used to have to worry about when you ran into a building about a fire or a situation. Now when you run into a building, it can be a whole lot more. It could be, a lot of different things in there that you're not expecting, and you have to be aware of it and prepare for it. And that takes a lot of effort. Right. It really does.
Okay. So in conclusion, just to kind of wrap, I'll just kind of go off script here for a minute, and I'll start with you, Dale. What do you miss most about the job? And what one piece or what one lesson would you pass on to the rank and file that would serve them well?
Just sitting here with my ex-partner here, I missed him.
Yeah.
I missed the knowledge that I got from folks like him. Right. He's a little bit older, okay, and he's and we are different. And actually, we're a perfect example. We're very different. We're very similar. We have very similar backgrounds. I didn't know if you grew up in Arlington like I did. So we're very similar, but very different. And I look at him, how you hit big brother, give you advice. Okay, we didn't agree with it all, okay, because we're different people, but I appreciate it.
Right.
And so the aspect that what I miss is I miss our laughter.
Right.
I miss, because even though it's fun times, we're still learning.
Right.
Okay. And if you have the fun times, it makes the difficult times easier.
I would agree with that. I would heartily agree with that. Bobby?
I got to agree with Dale, even if he is younger than I am, but, you miss it. I'd come back tomorrow if they'd let me. Yeah. I really would. And
well, you know what? I got a position in 28 days. It's going to be yours too.
I'd probably have a hard time passing the physical, but anyway, I miss that interaction.
Yes.
The teamwork. Like I say, he was on the north side and I was on the south side. We had, 9/11 together.
Yeah.
And I mean, when you go through some of those things like that, it bonds you forever.
Right.
It really
For life,
does.
you're right.
And
I agree.
so it's just something that, it's hard for other people to understand, but most firefighters, they realize what's going on.
I agree.
You know, one of the things too, I'll add, because we were talking before we started this about traveling, and it's uncanny. I've been in many states, many places. I can always pick out a firefighter and a police officer. I can't. I mean, it's just, and I be with my friends, and I go, that guy is a firefighter. We just have a different conversation. Yeah. We have a different walk. We have a different talk, and it's very interesting.
So I want to say to you guys personally, both, thank you. You guys are both very close personal friends of mine, and I thank you for what you've given to me personally. I thank you for what you've given to this county and this profession personally, and may God bless you both. And with that, I'm going to conclude.
Oh, before it ends, I'd like to thank you for what you've done for this county.
Thank you.
Okay? I see what your thought process is, what you're trying to, just like this, create something that'll be there for people to learn from. And, you don't have to do that, but you've taken it upon yourself to do something like this. And I think everybody within Arlington County should be appreciative of that, the citizens as well as the folks in the fire department, stuff like that, Jimmy. So
thank you, Chief.
I really applaud you for these efforts that you're doing.
Well,
okay?
Thank you. Thank you very much. It takes a team, as you well know. Thank you, sir.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Thank you, Dale. Thank you.